Hey guys, welcome to a brand new concept on our secondary channel here, Galactic Senate. You may know us from Theory United, you may know us from PegPops, but here we're going to try to do things a little bit differently. This podcast series in particular, we might do one a little bit more formal, but in terms of this, we're calling this STS, or Shooting the Shit, where we're basically just going to talk like we're having a normal conversation about something. We'll get unfiltered, unedited opinions. We're going to do our best to make sure that nothing really gets cut out, and it's just a solid, long conversation between two best friends and fans of many different properties, and so it would be just like you were having a conversation with us.
Yep.
Today we're just kind of description of what we want the series to be, and then we might even talk about I think some Mandalorian there at the end.
Yeah.
Just because why not? Like I said, shooting the shit, we can do what we want.
Yep. That's the nice thing about what we've started. As Carter said, today is the first episode that we're doing. Plan is just to discuss what our plan is with this podcast in general, followed by, what was it you said, off camera, or I guess off recording since there are no cameras.
I think we could get into some Mandalorian.
Yeah, just right off the hop, straight into it.
Fresh in our minds, right in the beginning of the new season here.
So,
Yeah, I think.
do you want to go previous episodes first?
Yeah, sure. Like, let's talk about the first 2 seasons quick.
2 seasons? Oh boy, you're really going into it.
Well, that's the beginning of it. You can talk about the first 2 seasons. We don't need to dive in depth. They've been out for a while, and I think most people have their opinions on them.
Yeah, me too. I definitely thought the first season was more showing kind of like the Western style between, like, you have the dad and the son type relationship, and the dad finding his way, protecting the son. That was kind of the general idea that I got from the first season. What about you?
Yeah, I think they're trying to do something new and different. You have this time period between Return of the Jedi and
5 years.
The sequel trilogy that it's pretty unexplored, and I mean, well, we'll get into the new season here with new episodes kind of outlining what some of the New Republic looks like. In the first season especially, it was very much introducing a new character that nobody has known before in a way that everybody would be able to fall in love with them together. You know, we have a lot of kids who grew up on the prequel trilogy. You had kids who grew up on the sequel trilogy. Everybody, I don't know, like everybody in today's day and age who's a fan of Star Wars has had their own unique experiences with the movies and who they can relate to and fall in love with. And I think this, especially the first season, was very much trying to get more and more people into Star Wars with new characters that you could love. I mean, obviously you got Grogu there, that was literally the best thing ever.
Yeah, Grogu was awesome.
Thought, yeah. And I mean, even going into the second season, I think you've established a really good bond between a father and son bond, like you said, between Grogu and the Mandalorian. Yeah. Mandalorian kind of changing his ways from not caring to caring and looking after the foundling, because he had his own experience with being a foundling and being raised by the Mandalorians and I mean the specific cult, I guess, of the Mandalorians. Yeah, I think it is awesome to see some events mirrored from his old life to Grogu, and the way that he raises him, and the fact that they're able to go on adventures together, and they definitely hit the money on creating Grogu. Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, great job on that. He's lovable, always a delight to see on screen, and the show would not be what it is without him.
Oh, absolutely not. It's pretty much at this point Pappy Pascal and Baby Grogu's show.
That's true. And okay, but to be fair, complaints that we've been talking about even today in the last couple days, and I've seen online, is that you have episodes like, I mean, we'll get into it once again, but you have episodes like season 2, episode 3, or season 3, episode 3, sorry, where you deviate from kind of the typical path and get a look at what the New Republic is up to and kind of what they're doing with evidence of the Empire and integrating them into society, and I love that. Like,
I did too. I thought it was so cool.
You're
And
exploring the universe.
not even like that withstanding, like you get to see the old Empire stuff. As you said there, you get to see what's going on with it, but we got to straight up just see a shipyard of just Star Destroyers. Now that makes me think about what's been going on with, I don't know, the Super Star Destroyer that is
the Executor class Star Destroyer or whatever.
Yeah. Now, going on that, is there any Venators left? I would love to see a Venator in live action again.
Maybe. It's funny to see kind of the events mirrored from, I mean, if anybody has played Jedi Fallen Order, Cal working at the ship graveyard there, disassembling them and whatnot, and I definitely think intentional seeing that kind of process repeated just for the next political group, and they kind of touched on it in season 3, episode 1, with Duke talking about how he doesn't want just another political group running his place, and to a lot of these people, and once again they touched on it at the beginning of episode 3, where these people don't want another political group running what they're doing, and to them it's just all the same thing. It's, especially to the rich elite, it's the Empire, the Republic, it doesn't matter, it's all the same thing. It's just another government. Which is cool. I love seeing that side of the universe, and people being genuinely affected by the decisions that are made, and I think a lot of the time you get used to kind of seeing the hero fight the bad guy, and things are a little bit more complicated than that.
Yep, and that's why I think Empire Strikes Back was so effective, is the good guys lost.
Yes, I agree. Well, and you had lots of iconic lines too from that movie, and iconic moments, but
not
I think that movie.
Standing, no.
I think that movie started to take Star Wars seriously. I would go on that opinion. A New Hope was a campy romp through space that definitely had its faults, but is loved because it's the start of the franchise, and for sure you have iconic moments, iconic characters, the Death Star, Trench Run, Mos Eisley, like famous things from movies. However, I mean, in terms of movie quality, there really is no comparison between Empire Strikes Back and A New Hope. It just got better and better. Empire Strikes Back took the universe to a whole new level. You had things start to get serious, and I mean, Darth Vader fucked shit up. So, I mean,
it also
to me,
gives the opportunity for Luke to have his proper arc, to be the catalyst for Darth Vader, Anakin, to come back and actually fulfill the prophecy, which is being the chosen one and destroying the Sith. 'Cause that's ultimately what he did do, was destroy the Sith, but he did both sides of it.
Yes.
Which I think is part of one of the balances of the prophecy and whatnot, is he was a good light side user, then he was a dark side user, committed a bunch of crimes, but he also saved a lot of people's lives while he was Anakin.
Very and then bad war crimes.
And then he came back through the catalyst of his son to, what we thought was kill the Sith, but sequels say otherwise.
Well, yeah. I mean, whatever side you are on, you're talking technically. The sequels are part of the canon.
I know they are. I'm just.
Yeah. That's something we haven't touched on either. For those of you who are listening, it's funny to hear us talk sometimes, because while we have the same core beliefs about what these things are and their purpose, we have some differences of opinion on some of the installments.
Yes, for big time, and that'll probably be its own podcast in its own. But just for the sake of this one, what I'm stating is that was the idea of Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader, was that he was light side, dark side, and then he came back to the light side to fulfill his duty as the prophesized one. And then the sequels took that a different direction. That's all I'm saying.
Yes. Yep. No. Exactly. And I agree with you. And I mean, getting back into the Mandalorian, I think it is almost like a different look at the galaxy. For all of the movies you're seeing these through, I mean, aside from Rogue One,
Rogue One was phenomenal.
Rogue One and Solo, you're seeing it through the eyes of the Skywalker family. However the Skywalkers interact with people, how the Skywalkers deal with issues, and by the Skywalker family, I mean extended family too. You have Leia, Han,
Ben.
Chewie, so on and so forth. Yeah, Ben eventually. Well, both Bens. But you get a different side of the universe with the Mandalorian. You have a new character with new morals, new values. One who's, I mean, he's basically Boba Fett. I mean, he's not, but he is, right? A bounty hunter. He is there for the money, there for capturing people. I mean, if you don't remember, in the first season, he returned Grogu back to who wanted him, and only had to change of heart after he kind of thought about it for a minute.
And took the payment. That's the most badass part.
You got some dope armor too, but it's interesting to see. I wouldn't classify him as an anti-hero by any sense of the means, but it's interesting to see a morally complex character.
Yeah.
And definitely that bond, you know?
Yeah, that bond is important between Mando and Grogu, absolutely. I would say this, as Pedro is already on his way up, but I think Mandalorian really thrusted him into more consideration for projects and whatnot.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, with The Last of Us, that definitely showed his acting talent. He was in Game of Thrones before The Mandalorian.
Yep.
A couple other things, but he really wasn't. He wasn't what he is today if it wasn't for The Mandalorian.
Absolutely.
And you got to remember that, like, the guy is acting without his body basically on screen. Like, it's all voice acting.
Yeah, which is phenomenal.
For the most part, he is in the suit at some points in time. He is in the suit when helmets are taken off. But for the most part, this guy.
Where is this person?
Is very much on me. There.
Oh, I like
yeah.
this.
For those of you who don't know, while we're playing, while we're recording this podcast, we're also going to be playing video games. Currently, we're playing
particularly for STS.
Yep, lots of fun. But I think that's part of our core values here. With shooting the shit is we're doing just that. We're having a conversation, playing some games, have a couple laughs, lots of fun.
Yeah, we still haven't decided because it's so early on if we're gonna post the footage or not. But you'll definitely hear it in the background if we aren't posting the footage. So that makes me think we probably should. Someone shooting at you?
Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, like at the moment we're still very much figuring out what we want this to be.
Yeah.
And to me, I think this is the right way to do it. Because we have lots of, I mean, nobody else will be able to hear them, but we have lots of very long, not intense, but deep conversations about some of these topics, and I think it'd be interesting to engage other people in the community who are fans of it as well.
Yep.
And
I
give
definitely
you an honest take on it.
I definitely wouldn't sugarcoat it either. We've definitely got into a little bit more heated, dare I say, arguments.
For sure.
But
we love each other, and then
that was more.
We move on.
It was more unintentional to get into an argument. It just, is what it is. We love each other.
I think
have fun.
I would suggest, just because this is the first episode and you're listening to us kind of figure this out with you, I think it would be wise to put the gameplay footage as well, so people have a relation to what it is we're saying if we ever talk about somebody being honest or that kind of thing.
Yep.
Not that we're any good, not esports level, but
there's some more boxes here.
Okay.
I'm not going anywhere.
So moving on to Mando season 3, I think, because we've kind of
Did you cover season 2?
around in circles.
I certainly haven't talked about season 2 at all.
Okay, so we'll touch on season 2 then, just for a minute here. To me, season 2 was a great secondary season. You had the world open in the first one. I mean, it was basically part 2 to season 1. You had the quest laid out before him to return Grogu to his kind. That was continued in season 2 with a lot of different cameos that you have. I mean, I wouldn't even count Bo-Katan or Ahsoka as a cameo. I guess they were both very intentional to introduce them to new series.
I agree. There's definitely been a lot of, that was the biggest complaint of season 2 from what I've seen, is that it was just a cameo show. Now I understand that these cameos, for the most part, like as you said, Bo-Katan, Ahsoka, heck, even Boba. Yes, in the show they are cameos, but they had a bigger purpose in the universe because, well, we got the Book of Boba Fett. We're getting the Ahsoka show. And these characters are all very connected, especially Ahsoka and Bo. I feel like you can't have one without the other because of the Mandalore, like the Battle of Mandalore that they went through together.
And yeah, just touching on that even a little bit more. I mean, for one thing, I think Star Wars fans are very much. There's always going to be something wrong, even when it's objectively good.
Yes.
You have people talk about seeing these animated characters who are beloved in live action for so long, and let's see them return, so on and so forth, and they finally return, and you're complaining that there's too many of them. I get it to a certain extent, where it's the Mandalorian, the show is the Mandalorian. There was a lot of cameos, however, they weren't cameos. It's not like Marvel, where you have the Falcon appear in Ant-Man as a 5-minute scene, or you have Blade's voice appear at the end of Eternals to tease his upcoming movie. Star Wars is very much one universe, and aside from some legend stuff that was retconned, anything that comes out is tied in. You don't need to worry about if it's multiverse, if it's retconned, or if it's gonna impact something else down along the way. Like you have Jedi Fallen Order.
Yep.
It's part of the universe. So Jedi Survivor, part of the universe.
Even
any Star Wars game.
Sorry, continue. Finish your point first.
I was just gonna say, like,
there's people over here.
And hold that thought. You're far. Just wait for me to get to you. As I'm running here, it's like what the new DC is gonna do is anything Star Wars related is tied in to the same. Thank you. I was worried that you were going to take that kill from me. Anything Star Wars related is tied into each other, and I love that.
More people.
And so, okay. Reloading. Let's come around this way.
Where is this dude coming?
I'm getting him from this side. I feel like he's upstairs. On me. Got him.
Nice. Was he alone?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is buddy. Yeah, so with what James Gunn is doing with the new DC is he has every video game, animated show, comic book, not comic book, sorry, but a video game, animated show, television show are tied in together in one universe. And that's what Star Wars is doing and has been doing. And so when you have a character like Bo-Katan or Boba Fett or Ahsoka all show up in The Mandalorian, it isn't as much crowd service as it is playing out the story. All these characters have direct ties to The Mandalorian. It makes sense for them to appear in it. Mandalorian was heavy into Tatooine. Boba Fett survived. They explained his story. I didn't feel like it was shoehorned. I felt like it made sense. Bo-Katan being in it makes a lot of sense. The show deals with, especially right now, Mando's claim to the throne of Mandalore, rebuilding it, and him learning how to wield the Darksaber.
Yep.
Ahsoka was directly in it to set up her own show, which makes sense because the end of Rebels kind of teased the future for that crew, which we're going to be seeing in her show. Yep. These are all characters everybody loves, and so it's hilarious to me to see people complaining that they're in a show that makes sense for them to be in. It'd be different if, I don't know, Chewbacca were to show up randomly on Tatooine to assist Mando in defeating a crate dragon.
Yeah. what I was going to say is that I find that almost everything in some way, shape, or form can be easily tied in, even if it's Legends, because Legends is not canon. Unfortunately, a lot of those stories are very good. Plagueis. I find that even though they're not canon, if they were made canon, for the most part, there's not very many issues that would be within that story. There might be some minor ones or one big one, but it wouldn't take much to change those at all.
No, and they have been doing that for a bit, for what it's worth, too.
Yeah, but
I think they're kind of taking their time, picking and choosing what makes sense at the time to include.
I agree.
And then they don't need to rush that.
I agree.
There's gunfire up here, and
Yeah.
I might have a shot on them. I do. Just 1 second. I'm gonna wait for it to stop moving. Oh, I blitzed him. That one guy is close to
Peek.
death. Where is he?
He's in front of the tree.
Throwing chug cannons. One's right here.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get to.
I'm gonna move around to this side. I might have a shot on him if I move over here.
Oh, bring your arm back.
I do. Oh, I forgot this thing has 2 shots. They ran. Move up, they're low. They're really low. Oh, I knocked one.
Nice. Push. There's only the 3 are over here.
I don't have any energy.
I'm a little bit behind you still.
Okay, I'm waiting for you.
Yeah.
Footsteps behind me. We don't need to worry about BMing this guy.
Right here. Right here. Hey, yeah. Attaboy.
Let's go. Hey, that's funny. First podcast, Victory Royale. Let's go.
Yeah. Anyways, we were talking about Legends and whatnot. Yes, they've been picky choosy about what they're putting in from Legends and whatnot. I think they're missing a whole lot, though. They could easily be picky choosy and putting in stuff that isn't necessarily related to certain Legends, but I feel like they could be making TV shows, movies, and whatnot that are Legends, or they can adapt a Legends novel or whatever into its own canon movie and show. And they could even do it all. You can have a book or a comic book, or both. Then you make the Legends version of that book or comic book as a TV show or movie, however you want to do it. Then you can adapt it again into its own canon TV show or movie. There could be 3 levels.
And Star Wars universe is so rich with content, Legends and even not Legends, that I mean, they're doing a good job with everything that they're doing and how they're handling it. They're doing a good job, and I think that over time we will see more and more stories that have been considered Legends altered, maybe changed a bit to fit into the canon timeline now, but it could be cool to see characters like Mara Jade.
Yes, Mara Jade and Luke. Me too.
I'd love to see Starkiller. However, I mean, the chances that he actually ever makes it to canon are probably lower than anybody else in the entirety of Legends.
That's fair, but may I propose live action Legends Starkiller with Sam Witwer as the actual actor. Sam Witwer is the voice actor of Starkiller in Force Unleashed 1 and 2. I don't think he's the actual character model, but they do still look quite similar, even though I don't think it is exactly him as the character model.
He's also Darth Maul.
You'd
love to come back?
I think it would be awesome to have Sam Witwer come back, play both characters in live-action Legends movie or not Legends.
Yeah.
Let's go to Breakwater again.
Okay. I could definitely see that. The other thing I was going to say is, with shows like The Acolyte coming out, it's cool that they're tackling different eras of Star Wars too.
Yes.
The Old Republic is one that has hardly been touched on too.
It is. It's I think they will move to that area eventually, and the premise for The Acolyte's really cool. In case you don't know what the premise is, basically, marauders or pirates were going into a village, stealing a bunch of stuff, destroying a whole bunch of their crops. So the Jedi show up. They say, we'll protect you in exchange that we can take this Force-sensitive child from you and train them at our temple. They agree, and as they get older, the town, or however, civilization got attacked again. The Jedi were too late and could not help them. Now, once that happened, the twin sister of the daughter that was taken is believed to become the acolyte under someone like the likes of, not, it won't be Darth Maul because it's quite a few years before, but to the likes of Darth Maul. And essentially, as they get older, the sister that is turned bad is trying to find the one that is now with the Jedi. That's all I know about it right now, and it's a very
and I mean,
interesting.
Take that all
premise.
with a grain of salt. Obviously, things are subject to change, and
yeah, that was based on a rumor
right now. Yeah, it's just filming right now. But I agree. Like you have this time period, the Old Republic, where they're just starting to touch on it with books and with the show. You have new movies that have yet to be announced. That, I mean, I bet money that they would be announced at the Star Wars Expo this year.
We'll see. They've been canceling more than anything.
They've been shelving different movies. I think it's a similar case to what they're doing with Marvel, with the last couple of weeks, where you have I mean, directors who are big directors tied onto other projects. Scheduling, like, shelved doesn't mean canceled.
No,
it's just you have directors who are tied into other movies, and scheduling conflicts can arise. You know,
Yep.
I think it's also perhaps a little bit, not even also, because I know Bob Iger was talking about this with Marvel and with Star Wars, is that they're focusing on quality, not quantity, going forward. That has been a mistake that they've made. They've delayed a bunch of Marvel projects. I'm sure that we'll see the same with Star Wars.
They've also cited that a lot of the delays and shelving is due to the failure of Solo, a Star Wars story. I think that's completely inaccurate, and they don't know what they're talking about in terms of their, like, quality. Solo is a very good quality movie. Yes, it bombed, but I think it didn't bomb because of the movie itself. I think it bombed because of the recent release of The Last Jedi, and that it greatly impacted how that movie's performance.
I have someone on me.
Yeah, I'm coming to you.
I got him. Yeah, I think that there's a number of different factors. I think if they just took a little bit more time with Marvel and with Star Wars, they'd be able to get the CGI a bit better. They'd be able to pay everybody fair wages, which is something that they should do already.
Got minis here in a pot.
What's that?
Minis in a pot here for you.
I got some. I'm good.
Both?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would rather, I mean, sure, there's a part of me as a fan who wants to devour this content, right? But I also get, like, the whole double standard of I'm devouring all this content, watching it as soon as it comes out, giving them the money that they're looking for by making this, but also complaining about faults that they have. So, I think, to me, despite my yearning for wanting to consume all this content, I would like to see really high quality Star Wars stuff come out, more delayed than what they have probably planned right now. And while that might suck to have to wait, I think it's for the best. And they have a lot that they can do with this franchise, and I am just so excited to see where it goes in the future. Mandalorian is definitely a shining bright spot. I will go on the opinion, I'll go on the side that Mandalorian is the best Star Wars content that Disney has produced to date, aside from Rogue One. Rogue One was very good. But I think that if Mandalorian is a sign of what they can do with the help of people who are really passionate about Star Wars, like Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, they can make other really great movies. I mean, there's no reason why they shouldn't be able to.
I'll give you two lists. The first list will be of movies that have been shelved thus far, and that involves Kevin Feige's film, Taika Waititi's film, and this Patty Jenkins film. Patty
I
Jenkins
saw Kevin Feige and Patty Jenkins. I last time I saw it, I know Taika's was kind of on the table. Ryan Johnson was also shelved a bit for his trilogy.
So basically what happened was Patty Jenkins tabled but basically canceled. Kevin Feige's confirmed more or less recently that his has been shelved. Taika's was pretty much shelved about a week later. And then Ryan Johnson's is still in the work for about 2025, 2026. His release date.
I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a new trilogy.
No, Ryan Johnson's supposed to have a trilogy. So that'll probably be the trilogy that gets announced at Star Wars Celebration coming up.
Yeah.
And then...
Well, I've heard rumors that what they're announcing at Celebration is post-sequel related.
Yes.
However, I think a lot of those rumors, theories, etc., are people talking out of their asses.
Not that one. The one with the after the sequel trilogy has a lot of credence to it and credit.
Really?
Yes.
It's tough to tell sometimes.
Like I will cite
I'm heavy into the Lego community, for example, and so
I'm heavy into the Star Wars.
When I see rumors about Lego, you kind of learn to tell what is fact and what is not. There are certain people with ties to the company. There are certain people with ties to people with the company, and so when you get a rumor in the Lego community, for the most part, it's accurate. And I mean, that's what I like about it is I know who to trust. If I see a rumor from somebody who I trust, who has a basically 100% track record of being correct about rumors, it's nice to know that is something that'll be coming out. For example, some drama with the Temple of Doom set, which was not even rumored to be coming out. It had a set design, was shown at a toy fair, I believe, and then all of a sudden not included with the current wave. One of the Lego leakers who was talking about it kind of went on the side of the fact that the set has been canceled, and despite Lego not having any official statement really about the set directly, everybody's kind of on that bandwagon of it's been canceled. Now, in this rare instance, I don't actually think it's been canceled, and I don't even think that the person who talked about it being canceled is 100% sure about that either. It's more a case of assumptions kind of playing out incorrectly, if that makes sense. And so it's interesting, and I mean, all that kind of just ties in with the fact that you can't always take everything accurately, even if you trust the source. And I mean, I have definitely learned the hard way to just kind of wait until it's officially announced to believe what I am seeing.
Yeah, it's still fun to talk about, though.
Absolutely.
And for Star Wars, since I'm a little bit more into that and whatnot, in terms of like the rumors and the leaks and whatnot, you're more into the rumors and leaks of Lego. Most of my info comes from Star Wars Theory. He is the biggest Star Wars channel on all of YouTube. Correction, he almost has the biggest. He's about the same sub count as the actual Star Wars official account. But in terms of fan accounts, he has the most. And all of his sources are pretty dang reliable, in the sense same as what we've got from Lego that Carter's mentioned, but there's still that what if factor. So whenever there's a rumor being discussed, just take it with a grain of salt. It's easier to
be, especially on our channel here. So we don't want to be like,
we're not gods. We don't know.
Yeah, we're not God. we are simply sharing what we have read online, same as you would have the access. Like you have the same access to the information we have. We have
and
no
it's exciting to discuss. Like I
discuss
so
those. On that note, then there was some Mandalorian season 3 rumors that came out today, which is interesting because typically you see the rumors kind of flow before.
Did you see the one that I sent you?
No. What did you send me?
I sent you on Instagram. It's a rumor on how long this season 3, episode 4.
Oh, it was 30 minutes?
Yes. It's written and directed by Dave Filoni, but it's supposed to only run for 30 minutes. I
It
thought
must
that
be
was
a pretty
interesting.
powerful punch of an episode then.
It's
I'm
either going
guessing.
to be the powerful punch like you said, or it's going to be slow as all heck, and nothing's going to happen.
It could be. I don't really know where the show is going to go from this point. So that's what I'm loving about the new season. So let's talk about the new season then, to kind of finish up this sporadic podcast here, which, you know what, I love. If
Me
you're
too.
subbed to this channel,
We've gotten all over the place.
That's kind of what we are, is like I said from the very beginning, we're shooting the shit. We're talking about what comes to mind. This is just a personal opinion on certain things. We're talking back and forth. It'll be interesting because we have different opinions on things. We hold no ties to the company and are simply two fans of many different things talking about shit.
Yep, it's part of our.
it's
one of our series with this podcast. Like, it's literally going to be labeled STS, shooting the shit. We'll have another more formal one where we'll have our own sets at our own houses, and maybe sometimes we'll do ones together, like side by side, just to get the different variety.
Literally just playing video games, having fun. You're welcome to join us. That's why you're here, right? Welcome to join us. Talk about it with us. Leave comments. We're more than happy to engage with anybody who comments with us.
Yep.
And so on that note, talking about season 3, I love the new season so far. I think addressing an interesting. So when you and I watch the new season, and every season for that matter, we always stay up. We're in the Central Time Zone, so we always stay up until 2 a.m. to watch the new episodes when they're released.
Yep.
That way we avoid spoilers, which have a tendency to pop up, annoyingly so, when you don't watch it. And
it hasn't been too bad for me, to be honest.
No, it hasn't been. But
if anything, I'm more likely to get one sent from you.
There hasn't been anything huge that has happened so far yet, aside from the Mythosaur, I guess. But
I'd say that the episodes have been pretty banger.
In terms of spoilers, if we are discussing something that has come out within a week, we will address it as such. If we are talking about anything that has been,
I disagree. People get 2 days.
Okay. 2
If
days?
it's 48 hours after the most recent episode, too bad, so sad.
Okay. Yep. You know what? I agree with that. Sorry if you were offended by that.
Unless it's otherwise noted, I will say that if I'm doing a review on an episode, it's going to be within 24 hours.
You know what? I will agree to this. Episodes of TV shows, yes. Movies, no, because I think people have a hard time getting to the theater or with money, and so you need to give them the opportunity to watch it. With TV shows like The Mandalorian on Disney Plus, it's free. They're 30 to 50 minutes. You got time to watch it. If you're a fan like we are, if you're watching this podcast, you're a fan like we are, which means you have found the time to watch the episode. I would say that's a fair assumption.
Okay, so then let's lay the land right now. We've got, if it's a TV show, if it's going to be for the podcast and whatnot, you've got 48 hours from when we post it with no, where we won't post to spoil. After the 48 hours, we can talk about anything and all of it. If it's a breakdown video, it'll be noted that there's spoilers in the video, and that can be within the 24 hours. We can get the breakdown out for that episode.
I would say, like, in terms of algorithm's sake and for the sake of the success of our channel, as we want this to succeed, to keep going, we will be posting breakdown videos of every episode. I would say that's a safe assumption.
Yep.
They will be coming out, if not immediately after the episode airs, within a day following the episode.
Yes.
And so they will be disclosed with spoilers. Don't watch it if you don't want to be spoiled. We'll give a spoiler warning right at the beginning of the episode too. But it's something that we are passionate about, want to talk about, and we also, for the success of our channel, need to get it out as soon as possible.
Yeah, and I would say for the movies, like you said, 1 week for regular spoiler discussions, unless it's otherwise noted within the 24 hours about that there's spoilers in that content.
Yes, and I mean, within reason, we will always give a spoiler warning. We're talking about all episodes in the current season right now, so here's your spoiler warning. However, you probably wouldn't get one with this time frame in the future. The new episode has been out for almost a week. Everybody who has wanted to watch it has had the opportunity to watch it. If you're waiting to binge the whole show, then there's a problem with you and you need to start watching it weekly. That is just my opinion. Okay, so with that all being said, let's discuss the new episode and kind of where we have seen rumors come from and where we see the new season going. Sorry, there's people gliding on us.
Holy crap! Let's join this.
Get out there. Yeet. Drop this guy up here.
This dude's out of my range. Ow.
Got him.
I didn't even get the glory of the kill.
Get fucked.
I've got no kills this match.
I have 4.
Yeah, shut up.
Okay. Anyways. And oh yeah, assuming if we're playing Fortnite, things might, like, we might just start rambling when we get to the top 5 because we might start to get a little focused. Yeah, okay, so discussing the new episode. I mean, let's address the hate that it got for what it's worth.
Season.
No, the new...
Let's go in order. We got 3 episodes to discuss.
Okay, so just to give a broad sweeping stroke of how I feel about it, I love it. The new season is great. Everything I expected. It is leading to fantastic things, I think, for the show and new directions that they're taking the characters. You have Katie, what is it, Sackhoff?
Katie Sackhoff.
Sackhoff, okay.
Sacking off.
Sorry, Katie. Katie Sackhoff playing Bo-Katan incredibly.
Well, yeah, she was the original
actress. Some of you probably don't know. Yeah, she's the original voice actress for the character. And so addressing even some rumors right now, it sounds like they're bringing back Ben Rao.
Well, I probably shouldn't play this.
The possibility of Ben Rao coming back with the original voice actor playing him too. Same with Thrawn, that has been rumored, and so I like that trend of you have even more integration with these characters where they're sounding the same and they're also portrayed the same.
Yep.
You know,
I can't wait to see Thrawn and
these people
live action. I have the Heir to the Empire trilogy for Legends that's based around Thrawn. There's the Thrawn trilogy right here, people.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, I fell. I have 9 health.
I knocked this guy. I'm getting shot at though. Skyler.
How do I pick you up? I don't know how to pick you up.
No. He's shooting you. Sniper. Run.
I have like no health.
Fuck.
Ow. Are they still following me?
Yeah,
oh, they are.
Sword.
Damn.
Oh well.
I almost got him. 31 health.
Yes, you did. Yeah, not bad.
Okay. Where were we? Thrawn, right.
Okay, yeah, Thrawn.
I have the Legends trilogy. I've got almost this full, like, Thrawn... it goes returning to lobby. Okay. It goes Thrawn, Alliance or Allegiance, and then Thrawn Treason. Now there's another trilogy for Thrawn, so a total of 9 books that I'm aware of, and this one's called Thrawn Ascendancy. It goes Chaos Rising, Greater Good. And I don't recall what the third one of the trilogy is. That's the one I'm currently listening to. And it adds so much context to Thrawn. And I like it a lot. Greater Good's definitely been... Chaos Rising was really good. Added a lot to Thrawn. Chaos Rising is a little bit more world building. But it's not as much about Thrawn as I had hoped. So I guess that kind of leads into episode 3 that we just had, but we're not that far yet. I didn't really have a point with that, or maybe I did and I don't remember what the point is.
That's okay. That's the point of this podcast.
I guess the main point was just that Thrawn is coming in and I can't wait, and he's a really good character.
He's awesome. If any of you have watched Rebels, I'm assuming a large portion have, like, one of the best parts about that show And I mean, Rebels is basically the precursor to.
Oh, didn't the dude in Andor, didn't he play Thrawn? Skarsgård?
Mads. No, not Skarsgård. He was rumored. He was rumored to play. No, no, no,
No, I
no,
thought
no.
he voice acted.
I thought Mads. Let's Google it. Sorry,
That's what I'm working on
we
right
should
now.
know this off the top of our head.
Andy Serkis. That's his name.
Andy Serkis voiced Thrawn.
Well, he's in the TV show. I'm making, or like Andor. I think he's voiced
Oh no,
Thrawn
no,
in
no, Andy.
Rebels.
Lars Mikkelsen voiced Thrawn in
Oh,
Rebels.
Lars Mikkelsen.
That's his name.
Sorry, maybe Andy
Yeah, so
Serkis
he's been
was
rumored to play.
rumored, or was it Lars Mikkelsen?
Lars Mikkelsen.
He's the one that's been rumored.
Yes. To be playing him live action, same as having voiced him.
Yeah, I could see it. He did really well. I don't really hear another voice. Wait, no. This dude didn't voice act for him.
Yes, he did.
It's not in his movies and TV shows.
Grand Admiral Thrawn, voiced by Lars Mikkelsen, Star Wars Rebels.
I must see it from my own eyes.
Anyway, yeah. As his name was dropped in the second season of The Mandalorian, we'll see him come. No surprise to anybody. We got a little bit off track there, but so talking about Mandalorian season 3, episode 1. I mean, great introduction to the show. Outlines the adventure that you, spoiler alert, assume that he's going to be having over the course of the season. Reintroduction to Bo-Katan. You got an introduction to some pirates who are rumored, and I am of the opinion that they will be the villains of the Skeleton Crew show, which will be happening at the same time.
I don't think they'll be the main ones to follow in Skeleton Crew, but I definitely think they'll be in it.
Definitely in it. I feel like that's what it was a reference to, or will be a reference to. And yeah, so the first episode kind of outlined that whole Mando is going to be going to the mines. This is like a whole process. He needs to do all this, the pre things before he can wash, and needs a droid to help him search the planet, which kind of leads into episode 2, which I loved. I saw complaints that it was too dark, which I'm not sure why.
Dark episode 2.
Lots of light in the mines of Mandalore, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, that's what they meant by dark. Okay.
I think like visually dark, but I don't know. I didn't agree with it. I thought it was awesome to see Mandalore again.
I thought that Grievous droid was fun.
Yeah, I think it's called a spider droid or crab droid.
I don't think they ever actually said.
There's a Lego set. There's a Lego set there.
Here, I'll look it up.
Yeah,
Keep talking. I'll look it up.
Search it up here.
I got it.
Okay. Anyway, yeah. So you have the spider droid, or crab droid, or whatever you want to call it, siphoning the blood from Mando, and like it was, I mean, dark in that sense, but I loved it. Anyway, surprise, surprise, Mando gets washed off in the mines in episode 2. He's redeemed.
That was a big surprise.
Episode 3 kind of solidifies that, as well as kind of builds on his connection when Bo-Katan came to save him with Bo-Katan, and all of a sudden you have Bo-Katan's castle getting blown up at the beginning of episode 3, and you're like, wow, I don't know where this is coming from. There's this mass of TIE bombers and TIE fighters who are not coming from some old Imperial captain or warlord. This is like obviously a much more solidified Imperial base. And then episode 3 kind of deviates from Mando, and the main characters are the woman from Moff Gideon's ship in Mandalorian season 2, and the scientist from Mandalorian season 1 and season 2. Pardon me if I'm getting my timing wrong with some of the characters, but the last time we saw her, I believe she was on his light cruiser.
Yep, that's true. I'm going to interrupt for a second. I have it up on screen now. It is called a spider tank.
Spider tank. Okay. Spider tank. We'll go with the Lego's definition of it. Yeah, so you have this Dr. Pershing, right?
Pershing.
Yeah, so you have Dr. Pershing. And what was the woman's name?
Something Kane.
Okay, so we'll go with Kane. Um, yes, we have these two characters who, I mean, were featured, but minorly so, all of a sudden thrust into the limelight of the show. And it talks about like the new republic and how they're reforming old imperial people. You have the opera house featured again with Pershing giving a speech. It sounds like he genuinely wants to help the new republic. He was never really portrayed as a super evil person. And you have this woman who's helping him get the supplies for his cloning research, which he wants to use to help the New Republic, but they don't want him to because it's against protocol or whatever. Um, and you get this uneasy feeling about this person the whole time who's helping him. Her intentions were shrouded. I know we texted each other while the episode was playing, kind of going like, I can't get a read on her. Like,
I had no idea.
what's up?
I still really don't have any idea. Like,
I mean,
obviously it
she's
wasn't
obviously
good.
bad. Yeah, yeah,
She
she has
fried
bad
his brain.
intentions. Yeah, so at the end of the episode, this guy gets basically set up for another round of reformation with like helping his thoughts on like the lowest setting of this brain frying machine. And she stays back and sneakily turns it up to like level 10 and eats a biscuit and watches in like solidarity as this guy is dying or losing his mind. You don't really know what happens to him. It ended on that.
Well, Mind Flayer
Or at
is
least,
basically erases your mind.
yeah. So I mean, the episode didn't end there, but the portion of the New Republic part of it did. And so you kind of go into this now, this new season, going like, what the fuck? Like, we expected this to be about Mando going to the mines,
Yeah,
and
I honestly thought the
that,
whole season was just going to be that.
yeah, and now you have like a whole new season ahead of you where you have no idea what is going to be in it. And I mean, aside from one or two shots in the trailer, they didn't really show anything. You have no idea. So I'm excited. I'm really excited. I think the complaints from season 3 were that Mando wasn't featured enough. He was in it for what, probably 10 minutes out of 50.
I'd say 15.
Him and Bo-Katan. Yeah, so 10, 15 minutes out of uh, out of 50 minutes. Um, and I'm definitely of the opinion that they were completely in the right with showing what they did. I loved the way that they took the episode. I loved everything that they were doing, showing the New Republic, showing people affected by the New Republic. Um, you kind of have to do that in the show. You're taking new steps. You're showing new things. You can't keep it the same formula, or people are going to complain about that. And so, while it was kind of Andor-y what they were doing, with the political side of things, I think it very much still felt Mandalorian. You still very much got your fill of the Mandalorian for the episode, or at least a taste of him. The episode ended with him,
Well, even that,
and
the political side of everything is incredibly important for Star Wars. It's one of the
yeah,
main things for it.
well, and this era that they're showing, um, is one that has hardly been touched on. It, it's one that's like you really haven't seen, and so getting an episode like this gives you a better idea of what the New Republic is looking at. That whole reintegration program of Imperial troops was
That's
awesome.
cool.
Like
That's a cool
yeah,
idea.
that's something you need to show, and I will continue to have that opinion. That I mean, boo-hoo, go cry about it that you don't have enough Mando in the episode. I love Mando, but that felt important for the story and important for Star Wars as a whole, and
It
that's
did,
the
because
goal
didn't we see
of the
Pershing
show.
in like the first episode, if not the
Yeah,
second or
yeah,
third, of the
yeah.
Mandalorian?
It was Mandalorian related. I mean, you have an episode in season 2 where they go to this old base that Pershing was working at with some cloning research going on, and this is continuing that story too. You have no idea what's going on. I'm guessing eventually it'll tie into the First Order. I mean, it
Eventually.
has to at some point. Um, but yeah, like I just I think especially in this case it was people really want to complain about something,
Yeah, which
and
is too bad.
I don't I don't understand it. I love the episode.
Me too. It was really fun. It didn't also feel like I loved Andor, but in Andor it felt like I wasn't always seeing something that needed to be on screen. That's my opinion. Whereas in this episode, while it had a little bit of the Andor feeling, which a lot of people argue Andor is some of the best Star Wars we've ever gotten, it allowed for a lot of storytelling, expanding the world, which we need, because it hasn't been very Mandalorian's been expanding the world, but it hasn't really taken that full-on leap until, in my opinion, this episode, into really expanding the world and showing something new that we haven't truly seen before. Everything else it seemed like it was kind of hesitant, if you know what I mean. Do you kind of get what I'm saying? Yeah. So while
you pretty much have a story about the Mandalorian and Grogu.
Yes.
And they didn't really deviate that. You also couldn't, from a filmmaking and storytelling perspective, you needed to establish that connection in those characters. It makes sense that they are now starting to do this, because you have 2 seasons of The Mandalorian and even a couple episodes of Boba Fett that progressed his story to the point where you are able to deviate a little bit from it and open up kind of the universe around him. And also, you have 2 other shows coming out at the same time right now.
Where are we going?
Let's go Slappy.
Where? Oh.
Slappy. Okay. You have 2 other shows coming out at the same time period that also tie into The Mandalorian, and you need to kind of give them a base to land on. You know, while the characters might have been featured, you need to understand what the world is around them for it to work.
Yep.
And you can't have an episode like Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 3 as the first episode of Skeleton Crew, for example, to introduce these characters. It just doesn't work.
No. Not at all.
So that's my take on it. Those are the first 3 episodes. Kind of, I'm not sure our time here, how much time we have left for the podcast, but
we haven't really said any time. We've been going for 57 minutes as of now.
Okay,
but I wasn't.
Good podcast length is hour 10.
I figured we go for a couple more minutes on. I'm gonna die.
I got no weapon. I'm sorry.
I mean, neither do I. I haven't found a gun yet. Why did you pick here?
I don't know. I have a sniper. Shutting those scopes, bitches.
Okay. Anyways, I figure we take a few minutes here at the end of this episode to fully discuss a little bit more. Let's go back to the lobby so we can talk a little bit more.
Okay.
Just for a couple minutes. It'll be primarily our goal of this podcast and a couple more ideas that we have that we will specifically covering in the podcast. So, what's that?
I said, do you want to start?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah. So, the main idea for this podcast, we have different series that we'll do. This is being one of them. Will probably be for a couple episodes. I think we're planning on recording another 1 or 2 if you're good for that, Carter. Yeah? No?
Yeah.
Cool. So, they'll probably vary in length, ideally between half hour to 60 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, maybe a little bit shorter, but ideally that's the time frame we're aiming for. It's half hour to 60 minutes every episode. One of the series will be STS, aka Shoot the Shit, which is what we're doing right now. The other 2 we don't have any names for, but one will be be on our own sets at our respective residences with cameras and everything, and it'll be quite structured. We'll have talking points, not necessarily a script, but talking points on certain areas that we want to discuss. And then very similar to that, same concept, except we're both at the same residence, and we'll do it together on a set. Those are the 3 main series that we've discussed up to this point. We might change it up at some point for some of them. But the topics can really be anything. The name of the podcast is Galactic Senate, so we'll primarily focus on Star Wars, but we're definitely not limited to just Star Wars. I'm open to talking about Lego, MCU, DCU, you name it. I still think the focus will be Star Wars, but we'll always cover something like that, especially if it's a really big leak or rumor, etc.
Even some, we might do some reactions on another channel to some Disney movies, but you have Indiana Jones coming out this summer, Little Mermaid, live-action remakes, new live-action renditions. You have The Haunted Mansion. Disney's gonna have a powerhouse in the summer, that's for sure, with the Guardians and, and whatnot. But like movies like that, I mean, if it's pop culture and we find it interesting, which we find a lot interesting, I'm sure that we will cover it.
Oh, absolutely. Well, even Quantumania came out, and didn't it get some hate?
Yeah, it got mixed reviews. I mean, I didn't think it was as bad as everybody was
Me
saying.
neither. It was
I
quite good,
will,
actually,
I will,
in my opinion.
I will die on the hill that Modoc was basically exactly what they could have turned the character into. I don't really know what people were expecting. I don't really think that he could have been pulled off better, aside from maybe his hair, but that also tied into the character and his story from Ant-Man 1. So I don't know. Like I will go on the opinion that he was fine. I didn't find any issues with him. Kang was great. Jonathan Majors played him well. You have the Council of Kangs that are coming. I mean, Jonathan Majors,
Save it
well,
for
this
another
rendition of Kang.
podcast, bro.
Yeah, sorry. I mean, just shoot the shit, right? We get distracted down the hill, but yeah. So you can expect this kind of discussion in an MCU podcast probably in the future. But that's a little taste of what you can expect.
Yep. Do you have any other ideas or things you want? Like, this is shooting the shit. Some of these ideas might come off the top of our head right now.
I I want to post consistently. I want to keep this as fun as possible. I want you to feel like you're sitting with us having a conversation, right? Like
I agree.
I see a lot of podcasts that are, I mean, heavily edited, um, even run-on sentences and this kind of thing, pauses, delays, lots of ums, ahs. That's all part of having a conversation with somebody. We're thinking on the spot. We're giving honest opinions, honest feedback. We're just two best friends shooting the shit, right? Like I've said a couple times now, this is a genuine, honest podcast from fans of different franchises who just want to have a good time. And
Yep.
we want you to have a good time listening to it. More than open to ideas that you have about things that we're talking about and opinions that you, as the listener, have, things that we're talking about. Absolutely share them. And we're more than happy to read them.
Yep. Now, a couple other things that we will cover. We'll do some rankings. Of course, we can do a lot of doubles, so we'll have the podcast, and there's videos that we can do. So we have ideas for doing like show rankings, movie rankings, maybe some IP rankings. We can do Star Wars only. We can do all IPs. We can do Disney only. There's a whole whack of different rankings we can do that we like. We have completely different reasons for we like certain things, and there's honestly endless options for us.
Yeah. I mean, we definitely never run out of anything to talk about when we're alone together, so might as well record it, right?
Exactly. If only we could go back to all the conversations we said over the past
Oh
year.
shit, we've
Save it
had
for
some
the
good ones.
pod, bro.
We've had some good ones.
And
We've had some very heated ones.
we've literally used it as the last thing we say. Leave it for the pod, bro, because it's just getting too heated, or it's really good conversation, whether it's heated or not. And we just need to go because we've been talking for way too long and we need to go to work in a few hours type thing.
Yes. Yeah, so I mean, after discussing that, I know kind of to wrap it up here, we had discussed earlier kind of opinions and theories about where the new season of Mandalorian will go. Um, I would love to hear your thoughts on that. I kind of already have, but for the listener, that's important. I mean, kind of briefly, let's discuss the rumors, and then we can give opinions afterwards. Rumor
This
mill
pod?
wise, yeah, we'll talk about it right now. We've been talking about Mandalorian. Might as well finish it up with where we
Cool.
think the season will go.
Sure.
Um, Rumor mill wise, one came out today that was big. That for Ahsoka, um, Ezra Bridger, I don't remember this, so I'm going to be honest. But apparently he gave away his lightsaber to Sabine, or she got it at the end of Rebels, one way or the other. And so he has been years, I think it was 10, without a lightsaber, and so he's adapted the Force into a martial arts style with his ability to Hadoken. If those of you who don't know what that is, it's Ryu's fireball, basically from Street Fighter, the Force, and use the Force in martial arts, which I don't have any issues with. To be quite honest, it makes sense. This guy has been without a lightsaber. You're a Jedi, um, or at least part Jedi. Jedi training. Was he a full Jedi by the end of Rebels?
Uh, I think he was a
He
Jedi
kind of
Knight, yes.
yeah, he kind of summoned the
I'd say
Um,
because of the death of Kanan and whatnot, he became a Jedi Knight at the end of it.
I would say he was definitely powerful enough to be considered a Jedi Knight.
Yeah, let's go with Jedi Knight. That's my official
Okay,
word.
we'll go with Jedi Knight. Correct us if we're wrong. By all means, we could be.
No,
He's a
it's opinion.
Jedi.
We're not wrong.
Exactly. He's a Jedi. He's a Jedi in my mind. And because he's a Jedi, he doesn't have his lightsaber. He has to find alternate ways to fight and use the Force. And the fact that he's using it in martial arts is pretty wild. I think that's cool. It's a new concept. I mean, kind of saw it with Chirrut Imwe in Rogue One, even though he was Force sensitive, but didn't really use the Force to fight.
Yep.
So
He was a
you
cool
get to see a new
concept.
side of that. He was a cool concept. He's like a religious believer.
Yeah. I would say the other biggest rumor mill that we've gotten stems off of something that we have seen, which is the Mythosaur. We have seen the Mythosaur in episode 2 at the very end.
Yeah, we know it's there. Bo-Katan didn't tell him about it.
No, now the rumor mill is about who's going to ride it and how is that going to happen. Now, what I think is most probable is that Mando will ride the Mythosaur with assistance from Grogu. Now, there's a couple ways it can go. Bo can ride it. Why can't I say it? Mando, Din Djarin, he can ride it. Grogu can be the one to ride it through his like force calm or whatever when he calmed the Rancor down in Book of Boba Fett.
Or even other creatures. He's definitely done that before too.
Yeah. So, or Anakin's done it too a bunch of times. It'll be one of those three, or it'll be someone with nefarious ideas or thoughts we've never heard of before. And the final option would be Moff Gideon. It's going to be one of those characters. I don't think it's going. I think.
Sorry, go ahead.
It most likely will not be just anybody. It's going to be one of the 4 that we know that I mentioned. It's going to. I would rule out Grogu pretty early on. It's going to be more or less between Bo-Katan and Din Djarin. I would then throw in Moff Gideon to be one of the more likelies that isn't those 2.
I am definitely of the opinion that, I don't know, Moff Gideon was a season 1 villain. He's awesome. He's played fantastic.
Don't forget, in episode 2 or 3, there was a mentioning, very quickly, saying that he escaped on his way to one of the trials or whatever he had to go to.
I don't think they said he escaped. I thought they just said he's on his way to a trial.
I could be wrong, but I have to rewatch Star Wars Theory's video on the episode because I'm pretty sure he specifically mentioned that line.
Let's assume that he didn't escape, for example, right now. Regardless,
let's do 2. He didn't escape and he did.
Okay, let's say he didn't escape. I mean, regardless, they both kind of lead to the same point. So, for the sake of, because this is my opinion right now, let's say he didn't escape.
Yeah.
He didn't escape. He's at a war tribunal. Regardless, even if he did, it doesn't really affect my reasoning here. I don't think he's the big bad of the series.
Oh, definitely not.
Dave Filoni has come out and talked about this kind of being the middle chapter of the show. Season 3 and 4 are going to be kind of middle chapters. I think they're going to introduce a new villain. I think definitely going to have ties with that mass swarm of TIE fighters. I don't think anything is really going to happen with that villain aside from kind of being introduced and maybe one confrontation with Mando. I think that you are right on the money with Grogu and Mando riding the Mythosaur. Grogu has that ability to talk and calm creatures that we've seen in Book of Boba Fett, and I seem to remember it happening another time. I could be wrong, but I think that wasn't just for show. It definitely will help. They already talked about the Mythosaur coming back, heralding a new age into the
new era
of Mandalore, right?
Yeah.
The new era of Mandalore. Obviously, prophecy's kind of coming around. I think Mando will end up riding it, and he will also end up rallying the Mandalorians back together to retake Mandalore. And I think you're going to start to see his home base kind of I mean, he's a bit of a floater right now, right? Like he doesn't have one spot that he's living. Bo-Katan doesn't either. Now that he's back in the cult Mandalorians and Children of the Watch, and uh, you had the line in episode 1 where all of Bo-Katan's troops kind of defected because
Yep.
she didn't get the dark saber. Mando's going to rally all of them back together. They're going to go retake Mandalore, kind of start to rebuild it, and you're going to see this confrontation with whoever the actual big bad of the show is.
Yep.
I think aside from all of that, you are going to see Mando get taught how to use the dark saber, and using logic from the show and kind of how shows work. I am very much of the opinion it's going to be Bo-Katan. She's hanging out with the Watch right now. She might even get advice from the Armorer on how to use it because they both kind of had conversations about how to wield this thing. Um, there is an interesting point to Bo-Katan not telling Mando about the Mythosaur, which could tie into her riding it. I could see that happening too. However, I don't think her intentions were nefarious. I think she just was questioning what she saw.
Yeah. I have 2 theories on this topic. The first theory, well, I think there's a little bit of hot tension between Bo and Din. So
Oh yeah,
I feel like
nasty Mando sex. Helmet to helmet action. I'll steam you up in
wowzers.
that face visor.
I get it is past 12 o'clock, so I guess you can say it's after hours or after night, after dark or
After
whatever.
hours Mandalorian episode. Mandalorian
Anyways,
XXX.
so I feel like Mando's got the dark saber. Bo has the knowledge of the Mythosaur and isn't saying anything about it. If she rides it, I feel like riding the Mythosaur outdoes trial by combat with the dark saber. Those are 2 very different things, and one's going to be much more difficult than the other. So what we'll have is her on the Mythosaur, Din with the dark saber, Queen King type thing. I think that would be very interesting, and especially if they do end up getting together, then we really do have a Queen King, and I think it would be a fun concept. Now, my other one is basically what I've said already. Mando, fuck me. Din will ride the Mythosaur with the assistance from Grogu. And eventually, the series, as we've already heard, is at the middle chapter right now. Season 3, 4 is the middle, so 7, 8 is going to be the end. By the time we get to that point, maybe we'll have Grogu with the Darksaber. Full Mandalorian, full Mando armor.
I don't know. I don't think that, in my opinion, at least, yeah, you could be right about Bo-Katan on the Mythosaur and Din wielding the Darksaber. I don't think Din has given up the Darksaber at all. I don't think he will lose it.
I didn't suggest that at all.
Yeah, no, I'm just kind of running through things in my head. I think he will keep it. He'll learn how to use it. He'll rally the troops. I could see Bo-Katan riding the Mythosaur too. The other side of that is I don't think Grogu is, unless it's like a series finale flash forward or we see him again at some other project down the line, like later, much later down the line. I don't think we're ever going to see Grogu as older than like a baby in the show.
That's entirely possible.
Time skip. Grogu is a child. He still has a long time before he's mature enough to speak or really wield anything.
Based on the timeline right now, so he was 50 in season 1. Between season 1 and season 2 was said to be about a year, so now he's 51. Season 2 itself was about a year, so now he's 52. Now,
who was saying it was a year?
Dave and John.
I didn't see that anywhere.
You don't find a lot of this stuff. And now, officially from John, between like the time that he was with Luke itself, that training period was 2 years. So it's 54. Now, between, I guess...
1 to 2 years.
No. He said 2 years.
He said 1 to 2 years.
He said 1 to 2 years, but he doubled down on the 2 years, so I'm going to say it's 2 years.
Okay.
So 54 at the end of the training from Mando season 3. From episode 6 to Mando beginning is 5 years, and season 1 of Mando up until now has been 4 years. By the time we continue that pattern until we get to season 8, Mando is gonna be dead. Hate to sugarcoat it, but he'll be dead by that point. So we'll probably end up seeing like a transfer of the Darksaber between him and Grogu.
I don't think so.
Or his death is going to involve a trial by combat for the Darksaber.
Why would he be dead though? Aside from trial by combat, why would he be dead?
Mando?
It's not gonna.
Old age.
Yeah. Dude, like he's only like 30 in the show. He ain't that old.
He was 10 in Attack of the Clones during Clone Wars. So
according to who?
The flashbacks. How old do you think that kid was?
Well, why are you saying he was 10? He could have been 6 or 7.
He was not 6 or 7 in the flashbacks. He was like 10.
I disagree. I think what we will see
I'd give you 8. I wouldn't go as low as 6.
The progression of Mando and Grogu's relationship, I don't think we will ever see Grogu as an adult. You can come back here and prove me wrong. However,
when is a Yoda species, Grogu species, an adult?
I don't know. I know Yoda lived to be 900.
Yeah, he did. So maybe he only needs like 20 more years and he's a full-grown adult. Who knows? Yeah,
I don't think it'll be 20 years, though, for the series. I don't know. I think that, I mean, at some point you got to think about it as like it's a business too, right? Like the show is part of a company and they want to make money. And Grogu is their golden goose.
I agree. But how long is Pedro going to want to be a part of it?
I mean, everybody's treated well on set. This is kind of his start. I don't think he is going anywhere. Even if he ended up leaving it for some reason, which I believe he's under contract anyway. I don't think he is going to be going anywhere.
It took forever to get that contract, though, because of the issues with The Last of Us. That's why we had to wait so long.
Really?
Yeah, there was a whole bunch of stuff between Pedro and filming because he was filming The Last of Us. And there was a whole bunch of contractual issues and issues between Pedro, his agent, and Disney for season 3. That's why we had to wait so long to get season 3.
Huh.
Uh-huh.
Well, okay,
Din was not barely in the suit at all for, was it?
Yeah,
for sure, Boba
that's
Fett.
Kind of my point.
But he only did the voice.
That's kind of my point. Is like, I love Pedro, and great energy. But if he were to ever leave the project, they could recast the Mandalorian.
Yeah, I'm sure they'd figure it out in a way that Pedro isn't necessarily in the suit, but stays on for voicing, because voicing doesn't take as long.
In the suit anyway, as it is for the most part, it's stunt double in the suit.
There's, including Pedro, there's about 4 of them, I think, that make Mando come to life.
There's a bunch of people. He's the least in the suit. He's hardly doing anything.
Yeah, well, I think he wants to be in it more.
Yeah, I'm sure he will. I don't know what the filming side of things look like, but I know that you have this formula of the show, and while they're going against the formula in terms of creating a new story that is different than what they've done so far, I don't think you're going to see Grogu get anywhere near an adult, because part of his charm is the fact that he's a child, and part of that bond between Mando and him is the fact that he's a child. He's not helpless, but Mando's a father figure, and he's able to be a father figure to him and raise him when he is a child. You can't have the same kind of emotional connection if Grogu was a sassy tween who was cussing out Mando every episode.
I guess we'll see. We have different ideas, that's for sure.
Yes, sir.
We've been going for almost 80 minutes now, so we should probably wrap it up.
Yeah, see, look at us go. I did the intro, you get the honors of doing the exit.
Oh, lovely. So that will wrap it up for a Galactic Senate podcast today. It is our first episode. I think we're going to stay up and do 2 or 1 to 2 more. We'll see where those take us. May not post those in order because, like I said, we've got the 3 series ideas, maybe more. We'll see. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed today's podcast. I almost said video. I guess it is a video, but podcast. We're going to try and post it on Spotify and Apple. See if I can figure it out. Who knows? They're really complicated as per usual, as most things are, aren't they? Do you agree?
Oh, yeah.
Everything's made to be less fixable nowadays. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed listening to us bicker and have conversation. Conversate. I really can't speak. I should not be in podcasting and whatnot. Anyways, have a good night and have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.